नमस्कार मुझे इस महान देश ने आप लोगों के बीच दो शब्द कहने का अवसर देकर सम्मानित किया है। मैं आपका शुक्रिया अदा करता हूँ। I'm going to do the rest in English if you don't mind. Otherwise we'll be here a long time. All right. Anyone notice anything unusual about this picture? Anything unusual? Piece of toilet paper hanging out of her skirt, right? All right, 2 years ago, I was at a party, talking to some mates of mine, having a beer, and a lady walks out of the toilet with a piece of toilet paper hanging out of her skirt. This is the picture. Now, you first look at it and you think it's quite funny, but then you think, actually, what do we do now? Do we tell her? In which case she gets really embarrassed and she looks around and you don't know how she's going to react. Maybe she's going to shoot the messenger, you don't know. Or do you keep quiet? In which case, you don't have to have an awkward conversation, but when she gets home, she's going to look at it and she's going to go, oh, I can't believe that I had this hanging out of my skirt the whole night. I wish someone had told me. What would you do? Took a photograph. Okay, after you've taken the photograph, what would you do?
We'll appreciate. We'll just inquire where she got this stitch of this lining.
Okay.
This is such a wonderful lining. Where you got this in the Thailand? Wonderful.
Okay, who would tell her?
Actually, the similar thing happened to me. Someone mentioned this at it. I'm very happy that someone came and told me.
Okay. Who would not tell her? Who would keep quiet? Wow. That's amazing. At home when I ask this question, usually what happens is the woman will say, I don't know, you have to tell her. Absolutely, I would want to know. And the men all say, you can never tell her. Telling her things like that never end up well. So it's interesting the sort of cultural differences. Well, I'll tell you what a mate of mine did. He did a very clever solution, and more importantly, how that relates to 360-degree surveys. What we're going to talk about today is, firstly, 360 degrees. Does everyone know what it is? It's a review of a manager or an employee by the boss, the subordinates, the peers, and perhaps customers or other stakeholders. That's the 360. We're going to talk about two debates within the 360-degree industry, usefulness versus confidentiality, and performance versus development. And then we're going to talk about a surprising link between attracting talent and 360-degree surveys. Now, I want you to imagine walking into your boss's office and saying, boss, I really don't like the way that you lose your temper in meetings. It's unprofessional, it's having a negative impact on the team, they're not responding to you, they're not telling you stuff, and I want you to stop this now. What I suggest is that you walk out of the office, walk out of the meeting if you're feeling upset, perhaps take the person aside, and that's my advice. How many of you could have that type of conversation with your boss? Because I understand my staff, I work with them every day. And we've done a lot of research into this, and it's quite interesting in that it's actually a lot more difficult to understand who said what than people think. And I think the reason is because people tend to write differently to how they speak, and they tend to write informal chats differently to how they write formal business emails to their managers, which is something that we didn't expect. And also what's interesting is that those companies that have said, look, we've already got an open culture, and so this is a waste of time, are usually the companies that are the worst in terms of not having open doors of communication between the managers and the staff, which we found quite interesting as well.